Hello and welcome to On the Sofa with me, Monja and Anna. We love our clan stories and we're always working to improve the clan section on our website, which is dedicated to over 200 Scottish clans, along with many blogs, photos and videos as well. There are over 500 clan and family associations registered around the world, and we love learning new bits of history and learning from our customers how they explored their heritage and traced their roots. We would never claim to be experts, however, we are keen enthusiasts and really enjoy sharing and digging into the often bloody and brutal stories, highlighting the lesser known bits of Scottish clan history and the work of the clan societies around the world. So please do chip in if we get anything wrong or if you've got anything else to add.
So good evening, hello, lovely to be here again. I've not been on for a few weeks. So I'm Anna and I run the company. Well, I don't really, Monja does most of the work, but I am the managing director and founder of ScotlandShop. So McKenzie is, and I'm wearing a little bit of McKenzie tonight, lovely, I love this infinity scarf, very nice, a little bit different. And it doesn't just fly away and get messy. It's just perfect all the time. I digress. So every month we choose our clan to celebrate, and this month it's Mackenzie. And what we do is we highlight their history, their castles, their famous faces, and have an interview or two with interesting people from the clan or their societies. And this month we were lucky enough to speak to Donald Mckenzie, who's chair of Clan MacKenzie Society of Scotland. And Donald is multi-talented. There he is on screen. He also runs a tourism business called Clan MacKenzie Roots, which you can go and visit him on his website. But also we've written a blog all about him. So Emily will pop the link up there for you now, and you can read all about Donald and what he gets up to and what the society gets up to. So we do, as Monja said, we really welcome your input. So if it's your clan's turn and you've got stories to share, then please let us know. Or even if it's not your clan's turn, just tell us anyway. Because we really love hearing all your stories, particularly those Scots who have ended up overseas and how you ended up there, how you continue to celebrate your Scottish heritage, because there's many ways that I know you do that. And Tasman recently, if you've ever spoken to Tasman on our customer service team, she discovered recently through her research into Clan MacKenzie that her McKechnie is her surname and that actually her family is a sept of Mackenzie. So this feature has been of extra interest to her and she keeps popping up with extra bits of information.
So Clan MacKenzie is traditionally associated with the Kintail area of mountains in the northwest Highlands of Scotland, as well as Rothshire in the Central Highlands. So traditional genealogies trace the ancestors of the Mackenzie chiefs right back to the 12th century, so they are a very old clan. In 1263, Colin Fitzgerald of Kintail actually saved King Alexander III from the fury of a charging stag while he was out hunting near Kincardine. And in recognition of his bravery and in sacrifice, the king granted Fitzgerald the lands of Kintail and Ross, and the right to use the 12-pointed royal stag emblem on their coat of arms, which Emily's just put on the screen there. Fitzgerald then proceeded to found Clan MacKenzie, whose ancestral home became Elandonan Castle, which is a great stronghold on a small tidal island, where the three sea lochs meet, and so you can see that on there. The three sea lochs are Loch Duich, Loch Long and Loch Alsh in the Western Highlands of Scotland, and that was around 1293.
And Elandonan Castle, very close to my heart, my husband's favourite castle, so he's always telling me stories about going there as a child. So if you get a chance, really beautiful with all the water in the castle, a very lovely place to visit. So the surname Mackenzie in Gaelic is McConaughey, which means son of the fair bright one. So the Mackenzies are believed to have the same ancestry as Clan Matheson and Clan Anrias. All three are said to have descended from Gillian of the Aird, a Gaelic dynasty who lived in the early 12th century. And another theory is that all three are descended from the 13th century Cormac.
The clan insignia for Clan MacKenzie. Their clan crest is a mount in flames, and the motto reads Luso non uro, which means I shine not burn. Outlander fans out there will recognise this from Willie's words in Chapter 10, the oath taking. The official plant of Clan MacKenzie is holly or deer grass, which is also known as heath clubrush. And clansmen wore sprigs attached to their caps, whereas the women pinned plant badges to their tartan sashes at the shoulder just to keep it in place.
And if you're a Mackenzie, you're lucky you have 5 different tartans. There's 5 different variations. So they have an ancient, dress ancient, a modern, dress modern, and the weathered. And yeah, so Monja's got them here. So your modern tartan, and that's the one I'm wearing. And then the ancient, which I always love, the shades of green and blue in that one. And so it's definitely, you're sure to find something that will suit your clothing taste or your interiors. So the Mackenzie tartan's mainly blue and green with white running through it and a hint of red. We really love the weathered. We've not actually got a swatch here. Emily might find you one to put on screen, which has some lovely, oh, here you go. You can have the whole, there we go. Some nice pictures of them all. So the weathered has those lovely olive muted tones, which look really good on a jacket or lovely on cushions or a kilt. A nice kilt, pair that with one of the peat argyle jackets, very nice. So in ancient times, it was blaeberries and alum with club moss, which produced the blue colours, and bracken, that, if you're not familiar with bracken, it's that coarse rough fern that covers the Highland hills, and this produced the greens. And then white crotal was the base for the red, and crotal is the name that's given to the different varieties of lichen that grows on the rocks.
So Clan MacKenzie has their fair share of divided loyalties. So traditionally, during the Wars of Scottish Independence, the Mackenzies supported Robert the Bruce, but feuded with the Earl of Ross in the latter part of the 14th century. So during the 15th and 16th centuries, the Mackenzies feuded with the neighbouring clans of Monroe and MacDonald. In the 17th century, the Mackenzie clan chief was made Earl of Seaforth in the Peerage of Scotland. And during the Scottish Civil War of the 17th century, the Mackenzies largely supported the Royalists. So during the Jacobite Rebellion of 1715, the chief and clan of Mackenzie supported the Jacobite cause. However, during the Jacobite Rising of 1745, the clan was divided, with the chief Kenneth Mckenzie, Lord Fortrose, supporting the British Hanoverian government, and his relative George Mackenzie, 3rd Earl of Cromarty, supporting the Jacobites. So they've got a long history of feuds and sort of divided loyalties there. So a bit of a rough ground with some neighbouring clans.
Yes. And we'll have to say hello to Fiona. Hi, Fiona, who's online, says, fabulous, can't wait to meet us all. I've been speaking to Fiona lots because Fiona's the lady behind the ScotlandShop extension. So so that'll be good to have due in October. Lots more space for us. And Karen, hi, Karen, you're in love with the ancient Mackenzie. I don't blame you. It's very nice. Very nice. So where is the Mackenzie clan today? Well, throughout the 19th century, Clan MacKenzie was without a chief recognised by the Lord Lion King of Arms. But in 1979, Roderick Grant Francis Blunt Mackenzie, that's a good name, isn't it? He, the 4th Earl of Cromarty, legally changed his surname to Mackenzie and was widely recognised as chief of the clan. And although he wasn't descended from Mackenzie in the male line, he inherited his titles and Mackenzie descent through his mother. So today, Roderick's son is the current chief of Clan MacKenzie. We've got a picture of him here, John Rory Grant Mackenzie, and he's the 5th Earl of Cromarty. And he lives in Castle Loud, near the lovely wee village of Strathpeffer, good word that, in Rossshire. Beautiful part of the world and another amazing castle to visit if you want to go. We'll talk about it in a minute. So John's a keen climber and an explosives engineer, so we better not mess with him. He was recognised as chief by Lord Lion in 1962, and he's got 2 sons, Colin Rory and Alistair Kenelm Stewart. so we don't have to worry about successors to the Mackenzie title in the near future. It was a Mackenzie, they're a famous bunch. It was the Mackenzie who best defined the term chief. And as recently as 1941, the Scottish Court of Session used his assertion that the chief of a family and head of a clan are synonymous. Sir George Mackenzie wrote in 1680, a chief for so we shall can't speak tonight, for so we call the representative of the family, from the French word chef, a head, and in Irish with us the chief of the family is called the head of the clan.
So a little bit more about Castle Loud that Anna just mentioned. It is the seat of Clan MacKenzie, and if you want to visit the home of your ancestors, then Castle Loud is an amazing place to visit, like Anna said. And you can see from the photo, it's just beautiful. It's a long tree-lined avenue that leads you to the castle, and it's set in beautiful parklands in the very famous sweet Sorry, again, I can't talk, Anna. The very famous sweet chestnut tree was planted there in 1550 for Mary Queen of Scots' mother, Mary of Guise.
I can't believe that's still there. It seems
crazy.
Impossible, but it is. So behind the castle to the north lies a pair of giant sequoia, and the one on the left, they're trees, in case you don't know, which I didn't. The one on the left is the largest tree in Britain in terms of bulk, and is supposedly the largest in the world at its latitude. So there you go. Both it and the chestnut are well known and included in the book 100 Best Trees of Scotland. Another thing I didn't know existed, a book called The 100 Best Trees of Scotland. And if you go within the castle itself, there's portraits hanging on the walls with so many stories of all the many characters in its history. And you can even get married there. So wow, imagine that.
So now we have my personal favourite part of Clan of the Month, the legends and spooky stories. I can't get enough of the scary legends that each clan has. I love learning about this. Each clan does have its own fables, and some are more gruesome than others, as we'll soon find out. And Clan MacKenzie is no different. It has a particularly interesting one about a seer, who is a person with a supernatural insight, and who's said to be able to see the future. So this was clearly a huge thing way back when in the clan times. So the mysterious and legendary figure of Kenneth Mckenzie was the fabled Brain Seer. His legendary prophecies are said to have foretold the end of the Mackenzie dynasty and the collapse of Highland culture. He famously foretold the tragic circumstances of the death of Francis Mackenzie, Humberston, again another good name, in 1815, who's the last Mackenzie Lord Seaforth. He predicted that the last of the chiefs would die a deaf mute, and true to the legend, Mackenzie, whose sight and hearing was destroyed by scarlet fever, he filled out the prophecy quite eerily. He outlived his 4 sons, and the direct line then died out. So the Brain Seer was clearly living up to his prophecies. So the Highland Nostradamus was said to have come into the possession of a special seeing stone, which was the reason he was able to see into the future. So now onto the slightly more gruesome part of the tale, which seems to be a running theme in most of these really old clans, which Mackenzie is one. So having become famous as a diviner, he was invited to the Brain Castle to work as a labourer for the Mackenzie chief. And this then led to dramatic and tragic circumstances and a sequence of events which included the barbaric murder of the seer. So Lady Seaforth asked the seer if her husband, who was in France at the time, was well. The seer then told her that he was more than well. He was actually in the arms of a beautiful French woman. So quite rightly, Lady Seaforth was horrified. Although her reaction was to blame the messenger, and she ordered him to be burned to death in a barrel of tar in February 1492. So very unfortunate for Kenneth Mckenzie, and not the wisest decision maybe to pass on that piece of bad news.
No, not very nice.
No.
There are some really quite terrifying stories. a long time ago. Hello to Kay, who's joined us as well. Hi, Kay. So more fiction, and if you aren't already a follower, then there are fictional Mackenzies who appear in the very popular Outlander series. Are you a fan? The series of books by Diana Gabaldon. And the seat of Clan MacKenzie, Castle Loud, is widely considered to be the inspiration behind Castle Leith, which appears in the books and is the home of Clan MacKenzie. It was considered as a filming location for the TV series. However, Doune Castle was selected because it was much easier to get to and much more accessible. This is maybe surprising to viewers who know Castle Loud as the seat of Clan MacKenzie, and this does actually accurately represent that historical period which Diana seeks to portray. So Diana did famously told STV that when the TV show began scouting for locations, she suggested Loud as a possibility. And oh, hi, that's Lee saying she's Outlander obsessed. Good. And Monja's getting a bit obsessed as well. She's just been telling me about how much Outlander she's been watching. It is a dangerous one to get involved in. I love a good book as well, so I'm more of a book girl than a TV girl. So there's something for everyone. But yeah, so Diana had suggested Castle Loud as a possibility, because it's entirely accurate as to period, of course, and it's got magnificent grounds, that parkland we were talking about before, and all those beautiful trees which were planted by centuries of Mackenzies and their visitors. And Diana herself actually planted a very modest rowan tree of her own as her own little contribution to the Mackenzie, which I thought was quite a nice touch. So you can visit that castle today, and you can even stay in the Dower House in the grounds of Castle Loud. Perfect for exploring that beautiful area around Strathpeffer, Inverness, and out to the Black Isle.
So while we were exploring the Mackenzie clan, we found out all sorts of interesting entrepreneurial Mackenzies. And so we've got a few stories about some of those. So Jen from Heel and Bling, who makes decoupage deer antlers, which are creepy but not creepy.
That was for customers. That was a quote from a customer.
As described by a customer, like Anna said. So we actually wanted.
It was me. I was saying I wanted to be Jen. I wanted to be Jen because when I was asking her about what one of her favourite things was about making the antlers, she said that it was because she got locked up in her workroom and could listen to an audio book all day. And I thought that sounded like bliss. But she did actually then go on to say that one of her favourite things was when people had never had a display, a wall art like that before, that they'd never had that, and then they decided to have it, and just how pleased they were with it and how she loved seeing them get all excited about it.
So we then discovered the Mackenzie School of English in Leith, right here in Edinburgh, and Mackenzie golf bags from Portland, Oregon in the United States as well. So Peter and David Jacobson, I hope I'm saying that right, are the brothers behind it all. So their business was named after a gentleman by the name of Rick Mackenzie. So he was the long-time caddy master at the Old Course in St Andrews. And the logo that they use today was actually on Rick Mackenzie's business cards that he handed to Peter after their round in 1985. So Rick is responsible for their name, the original logo, and the general inspiration to create really quality golf bags. So really
apparently Peter and David arrived to play golf, and Rick was their caddy, and Rick had taken one look at their clubs and told them they needed to combine them and they needed a decent bag. So this was the inspiration behind the business. Amazing. So some really amazing businesses. So let us know if we've missed you out. Is there an entrepreneurial Mackenzie out there? And we'll tell your story as well, because it's very interesting. So we've had lots of wonderful stories and photos as well from our customers, which we're busy collating, and we'll put them all into a blog to share with you next week. Some lovely wedding pictures, celebrations, lots of good COVID stories. I think Tasman's blog's called Love in the Time of COVID, so it's a good read, a good uplifting read. That brings us to the end of our Mackenzie Roundup. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've got a few questions here to reply to, but if you've got like genealogical kind of tracing back questions, then obviously we're not experts on that, experts on tartan, and we can guide you, but for real proper in-depth research into that, then if you go to the Clan MacKenzie Society, and I think Emily will pop the link up there for you, and they're really good, able to provide you with information and point you in the right direction, and you can join them. And also they do some amazing events, and you can meet up with other Mackenzies and lots of good stuff, which we enjoy chatting with Donald about, so go and read his blog as well. So questions, Monja, what have we been asked this week?
So the first question we have is, what is the difference between Mac and Mick, so MAC and MC, and in Mackenzie, and why does it have the Mac in front of it?
So Mac means son of, so you see that obviously in lots of Scottish names, but actually there is no difference. It's purely a spelling thing. So Mick and Mac, you're all from the same clan. There isn't a differentiation, and they're all these different spellings, and spelling wasn't standardized until the 16th century, and so people just spelt things how they fancied, and that's why you get so many different variations. Because my surname, before I was married, is Brown, and mine has an E on the end, and then some Browns don't. So it's just that kind of random spelling. And then once after 16th century, you see things actually get recorded, so they're actually continued. But on that note, you have to also go and read the latest blog on this, in this exact topic actually, about spellings, because Tasman in the office has a great story, and she literally only found this out, that she has a different spelling of her surname to the rest of the family. So she's a McKechnie and the rest are McKechnies, or maybe it's the other way around. But go and read the story on the blog, because it's really good and it's really interesting, and it demonstrates perfectly how these kind of misunderstandings happened, and you got people in the same family with different names just because they were spelled differently. That was a long-winded answer.
That's really interesting.
So I think does that round up our questions for this evening?
So
good. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everybody. It's good to be back on the sofa after my brief break. And if you've got any other questions or stories to share, then please send them in, and we'd love to hear from you. And next week, we welcome the lovely, I had such a good chat with Linda Fraser from the St Andrews Society in Tallahassee, and she's going to share with us what they get up to out there in Florida, and how they celebrate their Scottish roots and support people out there. And she's just a lovely, lovely lady. It's well worth a listen. I thoroughly enjoyed chatting to her, and have had the pleasure of meeting her as well. And Linda is the owner of, I don't know how many boleros. She has them in every variation of the Fraser tartan. She's a big fan of the bolero jacket. So, and shoes, actually, a bit of a thing for pumps as well. So
don't blame her.
Linda will share with you how she likes to style her Fraser tartan as well. But she's on next week. She'll also tell you how to make chocolate haggis. Very tasty. I've had it. So that's next week. We look forward to seeing you then. And meantime, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening, or day if you're in America.